All right, well, good morning, everybody. We are gearing up to have a very busy election day tomorrow. The reason for this press conference is to just talk about what we can expect in regards to communications from the Bexar County Elections Office, do's and don'ts for our voters, what they can expect when they get to the polling location, and what they should bring. So just to kickstart this, we just want to remind all of our voters that we are still working with Secretary of State's office to get the voter registration cards out to all of our voters. However, it is not required to vote. And I just want to stress that again. It is not required to have your card in order to vote. If you have any questions about your status, whether you're registered to vote, or any other questions, feel free to call my office at 210-335-8683. Here to my left are the list of the required forms of photo ID. We'll be more than happy to discuss this with any voters that may have questions about that. But we have 7 acceptable forms of ID that are allowed at the polling location. Again, you do not need voter registration cards. Also wanted to talk about voters who are voting by mail. Mail has been a little bit behind this year. A lot of it has to do with the software that we're using and with the new regulations that are at the post office. So if voters have ballots and they are not confident that they'll be arriving here tomorrow on time, they can hand deliver it to the office with the valid form of ID. One thing the voter does need to know that it must just be the voter who brings it back. They cannot assign somebody to bring back their ballot. As far as election day goes for tomorrow, we're expecting to see large crowds. So we encourage voters to visit our website, thebear.org/elections. Download or look at your individual sample ballot. You are allowed to print the ballots, mark them, and bring them in with you into the polling location, or jot it down on a piece of paper. But what is not allowed in a polling location are recordable devices such as cell phones. So you cannot bring cell phones or cameras or any type of tablet into the polling location with your voting notes. Just if you need a sample ballot, you can either come by the office and pick one up. We'll have them also available at the polling location. Let's see what I wanted to talk about as well. We'll be using social media throughout the day to update what's happening at our polling locations. We will not be having press conferences throughout the day tomorrow unless something arises. If something happens, we'll be notifying the media of the times that we'll be meeting on that. Otherwise, we strongly encourage everyone just to follow our Facebook page, like, share it with your neighbors and friends, so that way everyone knows what's happening here on the county level when it comes to election day. When it comes to 7 o'clock, we will do everything we can to ensure that we have the early voting numbers ready to release. But just like in November, if voters are still in line voting, we will not be able to release those numbers until all polls are closed. We did experience a large surge at the end of the last day of early voting, which was Friday. We had 2 hours after 7 o'clock that voters were still voting and casting their ballots at that time. So just know on our end, as soon as we have the numbers available and we're legally available to share that information, we'll definitely get that information out to you all. If people are still in line at 7 o'clock, as long as they are there, they'll still be able to cast their ballot. We also want voters to know that if you walk up and it's not quite 7 o'clock, stay in line and do not leave. The lines may take longer due to the length of the ballots that we have currently, but we can expect long lines, a lot of people. If history repeats itself, we could vote as many as 100,000 voters tomorrow or more, depending on, the excitement that's out and about. So other than that, if you have any questions, I'm happy to talk about what to expect tomorrow at the polling location. It wasn't due 100% to the team system. The team system, of course, did its job for us during this particular election, but the biggest delay was several of the candidates and both state parties did not mail out their applications to those who qualified till February. So between February 1st and February 20th, we received about 18,000 requests. And we try to turn those requests around within 24 hours. But as you can imagine, a last-minute surge in requests, there was a little bit of a delay, but those that came in on the 19th and 20th were not mailed until that Saturday and the following Monday. So we still tried to keep it within 24 hours. Some of them took 48 hours to process.
With the big crowds, anticipation, everything that's going on, are you guys taking extra measures or security?
Yes, we have been working side by side with Bexar County Sheriff's Department. They have been assigned to certain regions throughout the county, so we have our sheriff deputies in place. We also maintain a certain percentage here at our office. So if an emergency were to arise, we would call out to the people in that region and send from here as well.
I know you were saying for voters, if they have any questions about the registration, if they're registered, to just give your office a call. But for people, maybe like students, UTSA, college classes, and stuff like that, if they maybe forgot to change their registration or anything, do you have any advice to give them as of right now?
Well, as of right now, the last day to vote a limited ballot, which would be someone who moved into the county and didn't register in time, that has passed. Friday was the last day to vote a limited ballot. If there are students who maybe live within a certain distance from their home and can get back home and vote, if that's their residential, then they should vote through their particular county. But as far as them coming in, voting unlimited, we've already passed that deadline.
What do you want to say to voters? Because we did see a big turnout for early voting, and I would expect to see large lines tomorrow. Usually it's about the same amount that you see in cumulative for early voting. What do you want to say to voters tomorrow who are going to come out, maybe be in those lines for 12 hours? What would you like to say to them as they head to the polls?
Sure, I would encourage them to study their ballot. Right? Take notes, know what they're going to vote on, and be prepared to stand in line. Now, we have added additional check-ins and at some of our busier sites, giving them additional voting equipment to help speed the process up, but the ballot is still long. Our voters are taking the time to read them and understand them before making a decision. Voters with disabilities, if they go to a polling location, can cut to the front of the line. So don't feel bad about it. If you are not able to stand in line, cut to the front of the line. Our judges and clerks have been trained to look for voters who might need to move to the front and know that they're welcome to do so. Be prepared. Bring a friend. You know, it's going to be a long day tomorrow, and we really would like to see these numbers and hear from every one of our voters tomorrow.
Are there any locations that are getting more attention this time than usual?
They're always the same ones where the busiest sites are. I didn't bring the list with me. Joe, the busier sites are going to be Brook Hollow, Lions Field, Cody Elementary,
Great Northwest, UTSA.
Great Northwest, UTSA, usually about 5 or 6 that we have really high voter turnout at.
It's basically all the early voting sites.
Yeah, so we had 50 early voting locations, and they're typically the most popular, even on election day.
And how does Bexar County turnout trends compare to the rest of the state right now?
Well, I haven't really looked at the rest of the state numbers, but I've really been keeping an eye just in the historical from 2022 and 2018. And if you're looking at our numbers, early voting surpassed all of 2022, which was 171,820, which included election day. And then in 2018, we voted 61,700. So we are more than double of what we've seen in the past here just in Bexar County. I haven't had a chance to reach out to any colleagues to see how things are going on their end, but as far as I've seen just in reading articles online, everyone is seeing a huge turnout.
Just as far as security, just to continue on his question about, would you say that it's augmented this year as opposed to 4 years ago in terms of the amount of security or an increase in it?
We've made sure that we have one sheriff deputy for every 5 locations. So we have increased the number of sheriff deputies that we have stationed throughout Bexar County, just to ensure that they receive rapid response should there be a need for them. So we always try to partner with the Sheriff's Department. We pay attention to what's going on around us, right? Like the voters that are expressing concerns or just trends that are going throughout the state, and we staff accordingly.
Have you seen any impact from the changed congressional districts? I know your office said about 43% of Bexar County is in a new district this year. Has that had any practical implications on voting?
I've actually been in the poll site when I've heard voters who have brought their old cards to the polling location and they've noticed a change, and we've been able to explain it to them. So we've done everything that we possibly can without sending out the cards to notify the voters that there has been a change. Unfortunately, since it did affect about 43% of the voters, we weren't able to notify them by mail. So anytime they call, we always make sure that if they have a question about their congressional district, that we express to them that they were affected, or if they weren't.
Any other questions? Right. Thank you all.
Thank you. Vicky, you're next.
You need Spanish?
Yes. So this is Victoria Molina. I don't know if you guys are going to interview her, but she is one of our colleagues here within the office.
Buenos días. Hola, buenos días. Me llamo Victoria Molina. Represento aquí al Departamento de Elecciones y estamos muy emocionados de que todo ha salido muy bien para esta elección del día de mañana. Estamos preparados para lo que pueda surgir. Estamos con todo el equipo necesario para darle ayuda y información a todos los departamentos que tenemos abiertos para la votación de mañana.
Estaba diciendo de que no van a estar dando entrevistas, que todo va a ser por social media.
El día de mañana no se van a dar entrevistas porque vamos a estar ocupados, pero vamos a estar informando en las redes sociales todos los acontecimientos de cada locación.